I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place mission first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined. Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View. this is Jessie. How y'all doing? Sorry, I'm having just a bit of an audio issue tonight. But what I gotta tell you before I get too far into the show. Well, I'm using a backup system, so if I don't sound quite right, you know why. Actually the RAM in my computer went bad. Now that's not a very common occurrence, but I tend to be the kind of person that if it's weird, it's going to happen to me. So, as things go, it happened. We're coping and moving right along. But because I'm not using my regular computer, we won't be doing bang, 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 I've got my show prep. So, let's get on with the rest of it. Of course, a lot's been going on in this world. You know this. I know this. So, I've got a lot to cover. And yes, I know I've been kind of MIA for a couple days. Sorry, I was trying to see if I could get the computer up and running for you guys so I could do everything the way I normally do, but it wasn't working, so I decided we were just going to do the show anyway tonight, backup system and all. Okay. Since I have last spoken with you, one of these Syrian white helmets, they are the rescue workers who go in after the bombs stop falling and they pull people out of those buildings. One of its volunteers, Mohammed Daboub, was killed in the line of duty by government artillery fire in Homs, Syria's third largest city. Daboub was the 164th white helmet rescuer killed in the conflict. Oh yeah! So this UN mediator Stefan de Mistra said he believes the truce is largely held. However, tell that to Daboub and his family is my opinion. So these are the guys that go in and pull survivors and bodies out. And he was killed by artillery fire. Now, of course, in a situation like this, you've got Syria going, the rebels did it, the rebels did it. The rebels going, Syria's doing it. What are you looking at us for? So it's a he said, she said, take your piss. Pot calling kettle black. Teacup calling mug china. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. Everybody probably had a hand in it. I don't think anybody in this mess is completely innocent. However, I am all for getting the true civilians out of harm's way, and they're the only innocent ones in this. When it comes to China, we'll get to why I keep talking about China. When it comes to Russia and the rebels, pick one, pick the other. It doesn't really matter. Neither one, as far as I'm concerned, is worth a darn. And we will get in, and that brings me, I started off with that story because the United Nations Security Council was attempting to pass a UN resolution on chemical weapons. Now, I got a couple of clips that we're going to talk about. None of them are hugely long. Trust me, I could have played hours of this stuff, but I didn't want to bore you. Yes, we will get to the Operation Inherent Resolve stuff. I know nobody brings that to you the way I do. Yes, and I'm sorry I've been MIA for a couple days. I have been trying to get my computer system properly up and running. Alright, here was a clip from UN Representative Nikki Haley shortly after the resolution vote failed. Let's take a listen.
If chemical weapon attacks are happening in Syria, who is involved? Everyone on this council, including Russia, including China, said at that time They wanted to know who used chemical weapons. The question was answered. However, Russia and China didn't like the answer. The investigators spent a year collecting mountains of evidence, speaking to witnesses, and verifying testimony. The conclusion was, and remains irrefutably clear, the Assad regime used chemical weapons 3 times from 2014 to 2015, and ISIS used chemical weapons once.
All right, now those are just the ones the UN can verify with their limited resources and limited time they had on the ground. Now, those of you who regularly listen to this show know Syria has used chemical weapons many times over. We weren't the only people squawking about this. I've got a clip from the UK representative to the United Nations. Didn't catch his name, but I got a cool clip.
We know without doubt that the Assad regime and Daesh used toxic chemicals as weapons against civilians in Syria.
So, the resolution had 9 votes, if memory serves, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, there were 9 votes for it, 3 votes against. Russia and China were 2 of the 3. And 3 abstentions. One of the abstentions, and I was watching the footage, or I wouldn't have known this without reading some articles, was Afghanistan. What, you didn't know I actually knew how to go to UN.org and watch the video footage of the UN Security Council? What, do you think I live under a rock? Of course I know where to find that stuff and how to bring it to you guys. So, I am very annoyed that this is going on. This is not something I condone. Now, I do realize we are at the bottom of the hour, and as it is Thursday, I have to make way for Jen and Rick. So I am going to be doing my best. We'll be taking our usual bottom of the hour break in about 5 to 10 minutes. I know we've been only on the air a few minutes. I am aware of that, and I apologize for the late start. I was having a little trouble getting things organized tonight. What can I say? It's been crazy around here. I have all my stuff set up on one computer, and the RAM, of all things, decides to go crash. Trust me, I argued with this computer for day after day after day. Don't worry, folks, the RAM will be here tomorrow. And so hopefully tomorrow night, hey, maybe if it's here early enough tomorrow, we will even have a special episode of Jessie's POV during the day to make up for some of the missed broadcasts, because trust me, I've got a lot to tell you. Alright, I've decided we're going to go to our commercial break right now just to stay on schedule. So I will see you on the other side. Gotta pay them bills.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-757-2782. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-757-2782. That's 877-757-2782.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Thank you for hanging in there with me while we paid them bills. Alright. Sadly, the White Helmet death isn't the only one I have to report. You don't know his name. But you do know his photographs. David Rubinger. And I'm going to spell the name. Rubinger. He was a photographer. He chronicled the history of Israel. And for 6 days, David Rubinger, an Austrian-born photographer, chronicled the birth of the modern state of Israel, its leaders, its triumphs, its tragedies, and its people. He died overnight at his home in Jerusalem. David eternalized history, as it will forever be etched in our memories. After freelancing and working for local Israeli publications, Mr. Rubinger got his break as an international photographer in the 1950s when he was asked to shoot photos for an article that was published in the Life section of published in Life magazine. He later shot mostly for Time. Mr. Rubinger is best known for what he calls his signature image of Israeli paratroopers gazing up at the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City on June 7, 1967, just minutes after it had been captured from Jordan during the Arab-Israeli War. Mr. Rubinger recalled that he had to lie down in the narrow space between the wall and some houses to shoot it, and then rushed home to develop the film. Because, as you know, cameras back then were not digital. You had to take the picture, develop the film, and hope it all turned out. Mr. Rubinger and his images will sorely be missed. I don't know when his last image was published, but I can tell you this. You don't know the name. Trust me, you've seen the photographs. Between working for Time for 50 years and Life magazine for a number of years, his photographs were widespread. Okay, we're going to talk OIR, Operation Inherent Resolve, aka Mosul. I've got some audio clips for you, and I've also got a little more information, because as you know, this is a quickly developing situation. And the once-a-week press conferences they give are nowhere near enough to tell the story. We're going to start off with an audio clip, and we'll move on from there.
On the 19th of February, Iraqi security forces, including the Iraqi Army's 9th Division and the Iraqi Federal Police, as well as the Counterterrorism Service, started operations to liberate West Mosul from ISIL's brutal control. They attacked north along the Tigris River, and they captured high ground, which enabled them to move quickly on to Mosul International Airport. The airport's now under their control after a couple of days of hard fighting. Now they've begun breaching into the outskirts of the city, with the Iraqi Counterterrorism Service, Federal Police, and Army moving along 3 axes of advance that clear the enemy from neighborhoods inside the city, but also enveloping the city to the west.
All right, the reason they're moving, the reason they are moving along 3 axes at once is because this has proved a very popular and very effective method of defeating Daesh. All right, let's go with the second audio clip.
The U.S., Turkey, and coalition partners are working together to support stabilization and local civilian governance in Manbij. The coalition is committed to the security of Turkey and will continue to work in close coordination with partner forces and allies to deliver a lasting defeat to ISIS, which remains the greatest terrorist threat to the region and the world.
I have to say, I like how he said, ISIS remains the greatest terrorist threat to the region and the world. Now, he was discussing Raqqa when he was answering another reporter's question. Now, I'm going to apologize. The quality of the audio, it was a bit shaky. Remember, this general was calling in from Baghdad via Skype. So let's take a listen to this discussion of Raqqa.
In Raqqa. So right now, we're in the approach to isolation. Our Syrian Democratic Force partners have not yet closed to a siege around Raqqa as of yet. They're still moving in that direction. So we've got some time yet to examine fully all the options and consider all the options for the forces that will eventually liberate Raqqa. So nothing's off the table. We still have time to look at these things and plan, and we're doing that with all of our partners.
Nothing is off the table. Does that mean U.S. combat troops on the ground? Well, remember, folks, those of you who listen to this show know this. We already have special forces in Syria. Will we send regular combat troops? I don't think if we do, it's going to be the regular combat troops like you saw in Gulf War II. I think it'll be a few select units for shorter periods of time. As much of a fan of the military as President Trump is, I don't think he intends to send the military into harm's way without the resources and equipment they need. Let's take a quick listen.
Finally, to keep America safe, we must provide the men and women of the United States military with the tools they need to prevent war. If they must, they have to fight, and they only have to win.
So he wants to support the military the best. Now here, although it doesn't really fit, here is my favorite line from his recent address to the joint session of Congress.
My job is not to represent the world. My job is to represent the United States of America.
And yes, I do not see him making an apology tour for everything the U.S. has ever done. I'm sorry, folks. There is no need to apologize for the United States and the power she has wielded in various places at various times throughout the world. The United States has not been known to deploy its forces lightly, irreverently, or without cause. Have we always done the right thing? No, we have a bit of a checkered past. But, you know I'm a Special Forces widow and an Army wife. I will happily stand there and say, our men and women of the United States Armed Forces do their darndest day in and day out to do what is right. Alright, we've got some more stories I want to bring you. Iraqi government forces are poised to retake Mosul government buildings. Iraqi military claimed to shut down Daesh's last escape route out of western Mosul and is poised to take control of government buildings amid heavy fighting. Major General Thamir al-Husani said his rapid response forces were advancing along the Tigris River after retaking a crucial bridge that is now allowing civilians to flee to government-controlled areas of the city. The eastern side of Mosul, as we all know, was recaptured last month. Government forces, meaning the Iraqi Security Forces, or ISF, have since driven militants from the international airport, a military base, a power station, and a number of residential areas. Brigadier General Yahi Razul, spokesperson of the Joint Operations Command, stressed again on Wednesday that the role of the U.S.-led coalition forces remains limited to airstrikes and air support, training and intelligence. U.S.-trained counterterrorism units battle Daesh, sniper and mortar fire in an eastward advance that brought them together with the rapid response forces. We have advisors from the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and the rest of coalition member states. Those who plan and lead military operations, those who advance against the enemy on the ground, are the sons of the Iraqi joint troops from all stripes. Iraqi troops battle booby-trapped drones as they enter western Mosul. So, there's a lot going on in Mosul. It's sometimes hard to separate the noise from the reality, but I do my best. And yes, I know we've already discussed the UN Security Council and the chemical weapons ban. But remember Kim Jong-nam? His body has become the center of a major political controversy. And I don't know when this will end, because Malaysia is in no hurry to turn over the body. And here's why. Kim Jong-nam didn't have a passport saying Kim Jong-nam. It said Kim Chok. Now, a high-level North Korean delegation has arrived in Kuala Lumpur seeking the body of Kim Jong-un's half-brother Kim Jong-nam. North Korea is saying he died of a heart attack. Keep in mind, North Korea doesn't have the body. They haven't examined the body. And they're just saying this from their propaganda machines. Excuse me, the name on the passport was Kim Chol. And he was carrying a diplomatic passport. The health minister said Malaysia will continue to insist the body be positively identified by medical examiners through DNA or other means before it could be released. He said protocol is to release the body to the next of kin once identification is complete. How long Malaysia can keep Kim's body at the morgue? He was asked, we can keep it as long as we want. However, police have said the body will eventually have to be released to the North Korean embassy if there's no claim by Kim's family. The killing of Kim Jong-nam took place, as we all know, amid a crowd of travelers. The two women have reportedly said they thought they were part of a prank TV show, and they were paid the equivalent of $90 to pull off this, quote, prank. Authorities are also in Malaysia are seeking several other suspects, 4 of whom have already fled the country the day of Kim's death and are believed to be back in North Korea. I don't expect them extradited. Others sought include the second secretary of North Korea's embassy, an employee of North Korea's state-owned airline, Air Kuro. The reason they're after the airline is because they believe the airline helped get the 4 people they wanted out of the country. Now, Malaysia has come short of saying North Korea masterminded the assassination, but South Korea has come out and said that. The killing of Kim, South Korean Foreign Minister Young Byung-se said the use of VX in the killing was a wake-up call for the international community, and it proved North Korea's impulsive, unpredictable, trigger-happy, and brutal regime is willing to strike anyone, anytime, anywhere. Young said the United Nations should consider suspending North Korea's seat in the global body over the alleged assassination. Isolated North Korea, of course, has a long history of ordering killings of people it views as threats to its regime. Kim Jong-nam was not known to be seeking political power. He was best known for drinking, gambling, and expensive restaurants, but his position as eldest son of the family that has ruled North Korea since its founding could have made him appear to be a danger or a threat to Kim Jong-un's rule. Now, we gotta discuss Kim Jong-un's rule here. If you've listened to this show on a regular basis, you know that Western media, or at least South Korean media, and South Korean television and shows are routinely smuggled into North Korea. They are done by the use of thumb drives. Also, North Korean defectors will engage in balloon drops, where they literally put $1 on a balloon and fly it into North Korea, because they say $1 could buy 10 pounds of corn. And in North Korea, that sum is the equivalent of winning the lottery. Lee Jae-young, the leader of Samsung, and how many of you have a piece of Samsung technology on your hip? How many of you are listening to this show on a piece of Samsung technology? Has been indicted. Lee Jae-young was accused of also committing perjury when he insisted during a parliamentary hearing he never bribed Cho or Park. He still claims the donations Samsung paid out to Cho were coerced, suggesting the company was extorted. Lee is a vice chairman of Samsung. He's been running the company since his father had a heart attack in 2014. Samsung is among the largest of the conglomerates of among the family-controlled conglomerates that dominate the South Korean economy. For decades, The company has symbolized power and wealth in the country. Japan's Emperor Akito is going on a first ever visit to Vietnam. The 6-day visit he's scheduled to meet with a dozen surviving widows and family members of Japanese war veterans. The wives and their families used to face discrimination because the women had married Japanese men. Japanese troops invaded Vietnam in 1940 and remained there until Japan surrendered to the Allies in 1945. But some 700 Japanese soldiers, most of them married to Vietnamese women, stayed in Vietnam after the revolutionary leader Ho Chi Minh declared independence from French colonial rule shortly after that. Despite their stormy relations in the past, the two countries had steadily improved their ties since Vietnam's communists launched reform policies in the mid-1980s and opened up to the world in the early 1990s. Today, Japan is Vietnam's biggest foreign donor, one of its top investors, and trading partners. The state visit to Vietnam by the Japanese Emperor and Empress is an event of symbolic significance, a historic milestone in the friendship and cooperation between the two countries. Alright, we're not the only country that has a problem with citizens trying to help Daesh. And if you've ever listened to this show or listened to any of the mainstream media, you know that there are investigations by the FBI in all 50 states for people trying to support terrorist groups. Well, an Australian electrician was arrested in South Wales on Tuesday for allegedly working to help Daesh co-opt the capability to detect enemy missiles in flight. Hasmin Zahab was arrested in the town of Young, located in New South Wales Southwest, and booked on multiple terror-related charges. Investigators said Zahab spent considerable time researching online how to design a laser warning device capable of seeing incoming missiles used by coalition forces in Syria and Iraq combat theaters. He purportedly passed on what federal police call fairly sophisticated and well-planned information to Daesh. Police said they also intend to prove that Zahab wanted to help the militant group develop their own long-range missile system. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has added that officials don't believe an attack on Australian soil was imminent, but this case is a reminder that citizens must remain vigilant to disrupt the Salafi jihadist group's efforts. So, we aren't the only one who has countries doing crazy things. Palmyra is back in the news, folks. Syria's army entered the ancient city of Palmyra after fierce battles against Daesh. The army has entered a western neighborhood of Palmyra and seized control of part of it. There are clashes and heavy shelling across the historic city. Abdel Rahman said that Syrian forces backed by Russian soldiers had captured a string of hilltops overlooking Palmyra, bringing them within firing range of its western half. They are close to capturing the citadel. Daesh withdrew from it, but they may have left suicide bombers inside. Supported by Russian airstrikes and ground troops, government forces have been battling for weeks through the desert in the central province of Homs to reach Palmyra. Now, if you recall, Daesh seized Palmyra in May 2015. They were driven out in March 2016, but recaptured the town last December when Assad regathered his forces to take on Aleppo. Daesh has ravaged the city's celebrated heritage, blowing up the funerary towers and carrying out mass executions in the city's Roman amphitheater. And hello, Mr. Frog. Last month, Daesh destroyed Palmyra's Tetrapylon Monument, while satellite images showed damage to the theater's facade. The new destruction was condemned by the United Nations as a war crime. 2 funeral busts damaged by Daesh after it first captured Palmyra, brought back to Syria after being restored in Italy. The 2 busts were recovered by Syrian troops, and they had been badly disfigured by what appeared to be hammer blows. Now, here's where modern meets the ancient. Modern technology, including a 3D printer, was used in the restoration of the busts, which date to the 2nd and 3rd centuries, and had been transferred to Rome via Lebanon. So modern technology is helping us with some of these things. So one more story, and then I gotta make my way out of here because the Jen and Rick show should be hot on my heels. An Israeli man has been arrested for allegedly trying to join the ranks of Daesh. Valentin Vladimir Mazalowski, a 40-year-old Belarus-born father of 5 from the Arab town of Shibli in northern Israel, allegedly bought a one-way ticket to Turkey so he could cross the border to Syria and join the jihadist group. The suspect had contacted various Russian Daesh operatives in January using the Telegram app in a group called the Caliphate. The operatives reportedly taught him how to coordinate and plan his trip to Syria. He was arrested Tuesday and charged Wednesday in the District Court of Nazareth. Mazalowski immigrated to Israel from Belarus in 1996. He converted to Islam in 2000 after meeting his current spouse. So folks, even Israel has a problem with Daesh. So we aren't the only ones. One more story, and you can file this under the new headline of Shut Up Snowflake. Mass murderer Andres Breivik is living in isolation in jail. He filed a lawsuit saying his human rights are being violated by prison isolation. However, he is in a 3-cell suite where he can play video games, watch TV, and take care of his daily needs. He has complained about the quality of the prison food, having to eat with plastic utensils, and not being able to communicate with his sympathizers. Excuse me, folks, that sounds nicer than U.S. Max, Super Max. So, on that note, I'm out of here!